Here's the announcement that I was speaking about. Danger, danger, a disaster waiting to happen. Drivers, be aware, a section of the road between Roseau and the Douglas Charles Airport on a cliff near to Sylvania on the Imperial Road. Heavy rains on Sunday last opened up an old landslide below the road. It has been undermined, yes, undermined, and has started to crack since Sunday. The crack in the road is growing. There is no barrier, and the drop is hundreds of feet down into the Antrim River. Remember the deaths of those two young men a couple of years ago when the jeep they were driving dropped off the road between Pocasset and Castle Bruce Junction into a collapsed section such as this? Let us make sure that does not happen in that instance there. I observed it on Monday morning and my sister reported it to the Ministry of Public Works. The office said they would send some engineers to look at it, but as of today, Wednesday, no markings or barriers. Please pass on the warnings to the bus drivers, taxi drivers, and the general public. All traffic from Sylvania, the north and the east passes this way. Those on the way to Roseau on the left-hand side of the road are most in danger. Pass this message with some pictures and be warned.
Why are you so
All right, Dominica, this is the message. So drivers in that area, there, please be very, very careful. This is not the first time I'm hearing of this. Okay? And I'm hoping that the authorities, please give that some notice. Or just one of these days, when something happens, then we're going to say, if we had known, huh? So again, there's a crack in the road and it's growing. And just below the drop, hundreds of feet down into the Antrim River. Let's just pray nothing happens there. And when the authorities would want to do something about it, it may be too late. I remember my good friend Wayne in that area has always been speaking of that danger. Now, that note is coming from historian Lennox Honeychurch. Maybe he has some clout. Somebody will listen. This morning we spoke to Lennox Linton. Had to do with the Deputy Police Commissioner, at least acting for now. Let's listen.
Opposition leader in the House this morning, Mr. Lennox Linton. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Matt Peltier Jr. Good morning to the people of Dominica at home and abroad, the people of Concord and Marigot. A pleasure to be with you again, Matt.
Right, Mr. Lennox Linton, of course, word out there that we have a possible Deputy Police Commissioner as it relates to the replacement. What can you tell us at this time? Because I know the Prime Minister would have had to consult with you. Would have had to consult. Did he consult?
Well, let's take it, first of all, Matt Peltier, from the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the supreme law of the land. provides in Section 92.1 the power to appoint a person to hold or act in the office of Chief of Police or Deputy Chief of Police, and subject to the provisions of Section 93 of this Constitution, the power to remove the Chief of Police or Deputy Chief of Police from office shall vest in the President, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, given after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition and the Public Service Commission. So that is the provision of Section 92. The Section 92 vests in the office of President, in the Presidency, the power to appoint, or the responsibility to appoint someone to the post of Chief of Police or Deputy Chief of Police, and we're talking here Deputy Chief of Police. That power to appoint is vested in the President, but the President must act according to the Constitution in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister. So whatever the President does must accord with the Prime Minister's advice. However, the Prime Minister must only advise after he has consulted with the Leader of the Opposition and the Police Service Commission. So we understand that there was need for an appointment to be made in light of the departure on vacation of the sitting deputy. So I received a letter from the Office of the Prime Minister dated the 5th of September 2016. I'll read it. It says, Honorable Lennox Linton, Leader of the Opposition, Office of the Leader of the Opposition, Victoria Street, Roseau. Dear Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Hobbs John Baptiste, Deputy Chief of Police, proceeds on vacation leave from September 5th. I'm stopping here to note that September 5th, the date on which Hobbs John Baptiste is going on leave, is the very same date of this letter to me in the matter of consulting with me as Leader of the Opposition on the appointment of a replacement for Hobbs John Baptiste. Again, the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Hobbs John Baptiste, Deputy Chief of Police, proceeds on vacation leave from September 5th, 2019 to May 19th, 2017. In accordance with Section 92.1, I just read Section 92.1, where the power is vested in the President to appoint a Deputy Chief of Police, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, given after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition and the Police Service Commission. The letter says, in accordance with that Section 92.1 of the Commonwealth of Dominica Constitution, I wish to inform you, INFORM, inform you that I shall advise the President to appoint Mr. Davidson Valerie to act in the position of Deputy Chief of Police. Yours sincerely, Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister. My Peltier, clearly this is not consultation. And I want to make it clear that consultation is not what Skerrit thinks it means or wants it to mean in his own politically driven war against the Constitution, the supreme law of the Commonwealth of Dominica. We're not saying to Mr. Skerrit that consultation means that he must act on the advice given, but as the person who has the duty to consult, he is under a legal obligation to seek advice or an opinion on his viewpoint or his proposal before he decides to advise the President. That is what the Constitution provides. And the regional courts have paid some attention to this over the years. There is a 2013 case in St. Kitts Sean K. Richards versus the Constitution Boundaries Commission, where reference is made to the thoughts of a gentleman called Lord Wolfe in Coughlin, where they address what is, quote, proper consultation. And I just want to quote that. It says, to be proper, consultation must be undertaken at a time when proposals are still at formative stage. It must include sufficient reasons for particular proposals to allow those to be consulted to give intelligent consideration and an intelligent response. Adequate time must be given for this purpose, and the product of consultation must be conscientiously taken into account when the ultimate decision is taken, end of quote. This is from our regional courts. And so, in these appointments, Mr. Skerrit, as the Prime Minister, is duty-bound to let the leader of the opposition know in clear terms who he plans to advise the President to appoint and why, with enough relevant information on the potential appointee to allow the leader of the opposition to fulfill his constitutional responsibility with an intelligent response that must be the subject of conscientious consideration before the Prime Minister gives any advice to the President. That is the process. That is what the Constitution mandates. But Mrs. Skerrit continues to insist. No law, no constitution will prevent him from doing as he pleases.
All right, and clearly it happened again in this case. There was no consultation. I'm talking to former Corporal Police there, Wayne James. Is an issue that we discussed earlier this week as it relates to the replacement for the Deputy Commissioner. There was a lot of talk earlier this week, and possibly in the next few weeks we may see a possible replacement too for the Commissioner of Police. So it was confirmed, it has been confirmed, that the acting Deputy Police Commissioner is Mr. Davidson Valerie. Mr. Wayne James, good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Matt Peltier. Good afternoon to Dominicans, both here and Dominicans overseas, especially those who are normally tuned in to you out in Canada. They constantly listen to every program of yours, Matt. Mm-hmm. So I'm just sending greetings to them out there.
All right. But you've heard the discuss. You are one who are very concerned, going as far as saying earlier this week that you don't think that anybody you can identify as possible deputy and commissioner within the police ranks. Now you've heard the news. Are you in awe? Are you surprised?
Matt Peltier, let me put it on the record that there is nothing that happens in the Commonwealth of Dominica at this time that Wayne James is surprised about. The leader of the opposition eloquently dealt with the constitutional requirement, and I pointed out these requirements a few weeks ago. I read it out and I was specific in asking the young people of Dominica to take note, because if we have the leader of the country blatantly over and over flaunting the supreme law of the land, we are living in dangerous times. I also took note of the letter sent to the leader of the opposition. And what was offensive to me is that the Prime Minister said that he was acting in accordance with Section 92(1) of the Commonwealth of Dominica Constitution. But this section calls for consultation. But instead of consultation, Mr. Skerrit is saying here that I wish to inform you that I shall advise the President. Matt Pelty, this is very offensive. But Matt Pelty, I want to put on the record also that Mr. Davidson Valerie and I trained as police officers together for 6 months at Mount Bruce. So this is a gentleman that I know very well. I'm also aware that Mr. Davidson Valerie is a man of God. He preaches on the pulpit. As you have heard me said before, in the history of the police force, the morals of the police has never been lower than it is right now. I want to say to Mr. Valerie, so you have a golden opportunity to show Dominicans at home and overseas, and the men who will fall under your watch, that you're a man of God. And I'm very sure that these are the instructions that you would give to your flock, that to do the right thing. I think Mr. Valerie was not the one who has appointed himself. It is the Prime Minister who found favor with Mr. Valerie. But Mr. Valerie can do the honorable thing. Call the Honorable Prime Minister and say to him, sir, thanks very much for having that level of confidence in me. But I want to advise you that I'm not prepared to take up this position until you have appointed me in the correct manner. I personally believe that if Mr. Valerie decides to do this, the men under his watch will understand that we have a deputy who is serious, who understands his role, and who is willing to comply with constitutional requirements.
All right, here's my question to you, Wayne. Wayne James, do you think that Mr. Valerie is the best man or was the best man for that job of deputy?
Matt Pelty, I will answer this way to say, I do not believe so. But Mr. Valerie must find within himself and ask himself the question that if he feels to himself that he is capable of performing this task. This is a question he has to ask himself, and he must be honest with himself when answering that question. I do not want to answer it for Mr. Valerie. But as I just advise him, I think this would be something that would be to his own interest. And as you know, Matt Pelty, the police is there to uphold law and order. And Mr. Valerie cannot tell me that he'll be comfortable taking up a position like this, knowing fully well, now that he has heard from the leader of the opposition, that he was not consulted, and Mr. Valerie would be comfortable within himself in accepting that position and would expect that the men under his watch would be in a position to give him the level of respect and support that he would need in these times in the police force. So this is just my advice to Mr. Valerie. As I said, we train together as police officers, and this is an advice coming from my heart.
All right, thank you so much. Let me try to get on the, on the ground, the vibes on the ground. Mr. Wayne James, thank you very much for your opinion. I'll find out what are the discussions within the police service. I'll ask College and Baptist in a minute, but let me take a phone call. Yes.
Ma?
Yes.
What's the advice, my brother?
Okay, my brother.
I think you should come on the ground too and ask people what is the here. So, Matt, permit me to give you 3 fast things there and an addition. Matt,
we're sticking to one subject there, sir.
One subject, one subject.
Yes.
Matt, we have to find out firstly why a man can act and cannot be commissioner all the time. Secondly, we have to ask Mr. Valerie, after all the years he has served as a police officer, why did he resign? Then we have to ask Mr. Valerie again. Now, I am asking him to also, Mr. Valerie, I know you as a man of integrity. Then after a time, it was so funny. I would like to know, Mr. Valerie, why at that time and that age where you are still securing the pension?
Well, I think you have the wrong Valerie in mind, my brother, if you're talking about pension. That's not the Valerie that you're talking about. So get your thoughts together and call me back, okay? 129. The Valerie you're talking about is now a magistrate, sir. Somebody's now asking me, isn't it the same Mr. Valerie that was investigated for the leak in this child scandal of men being investigated for inappropriate behavior? Isn't it the same Mr. Valerie? Well, we haven't gotten the official report on that yet, but I know Carlisle John Baptist has been speaking to the right people on this one. Carlisle John Baptist, is it the same Mr. Valerie?
Matt, let me say good afternoon to your many listeners. And I always have to say, give God thanks and praises. I am living to see so many things in this Commonwealth of Dominica of mine. Even before we speak about this same Mr. Valerie. But I want to call on right thinking people, those who advise him, the Prime Minister, Matt, to do the right thing. I have read Section 92(1) of the Dominica Constitution, and I have read the letter of the Prime Minister to the Leader of the Opposition dated the 5th of September. And is that how we operate in that country? The Prime Minister writes to the Leader of the Opposition telling the Leader of the Opposition that he shall inform the President that he, the Prime Minister, has appointed Davidson Valerie as Deputy Commissioner of Police. The law says that Section 92(1), Matt, says you shall consult with the Leader of the Opposition. And the Leader of the Opposition is right when he spoke about the Privy Council judgment from St. Kitts and Nevis. I hope they file an injunction. I really hope they file an injunction to stop that injustice in that country. Where are the lawyers and them? Where's Tony Astafan and Alec Lawrence? Is that the advice they're giving the Prime Minister on consultation? Even after the Privy Council ruled, let's now deal with Davidson Valerie, Matt. Is that the same Davidson Valerie who the report from the senior police officer read the leaked documents, the Joshua Francis matter, the leaked documents went straight to him, and the report says where it came from. He, Davidson Valerie, was in charge of the department. Is that the same Davidson Valerie we're talking about? And in fact, Matt, let us go back a bit. After Superintendent Coffey completed the investigation, Davidson Valerie was appointed the Superintendent of Police. He was given a promotion. It's the same thing.
So you get promoted for wrongdoings?
But how you mean you forgot the incident dealing with the deflating of air at police headquarters? You forgot that? And those who were in charge were promoted. You forgot the missing monies at the Marigot police station, those who were in charge, they have been promoted. And they are calling your talk show. And let me tell you that. I find really you're tolerating a lot. You need, whenever that individual call, to put that individual to shame and ridicule. You ought not to be tolerating that individual on your talk show. Yesterday, that individual called, Matt, during working hours, chastising the leader of the opposition. This is a gazetted individual, and calling your talk show. So,
I think he has to be disciplined, Carlisle. I mean, to say ban him from the talk show, which I can, will be kind of going against the democratic principles of talk shows, if you will. I think he can, and he should be disciplined by his bosses.
But who is going to discipline him? Who's guarding the guards? Who is guarding the guards? Who is going to discipline that individual when he is part of the cabal? He is part of the echelon, the top echelon, part of the outer cabinet. He is part and parcel of them. Who is going to discipline him?
Something is definitely wrong, Carlisle. But with all the information that we're now getting on Mr. Davidson Valerie, and you have now sort of pointed at a case, which can be used as precedent, where a similar matter, the court ruled on it.
But Matt, the leader of the opposition pointed it out this morning. That is clear, spelled out in black and white in the St. Kitts matter. Clear in black and white what consultation is, the meaning of consultation. The Prime Minister writes to the leader of the opposition, the letter dated the 5th that I have in my possession, it's all over, and he states that he is informing the leader of the opposition that he shall inform the president. He has not yet consulted with the leader of the opposition to say, sir, I have in mind as Davidson Valerie for the position of Deputy Commissioner of Police. The leader of the opposition will say, I concur with you. Or I have in mind Tom Brown. They probably will dialogue, but at the end of the day, you will take your final decision, but you would have consulted. That is what consultation is all about. Matt, you went to school and you also went to university. And I don't know, but it appears that Mr. Skerritt believes that because he went to grammar school, and apparently I did not go to grammar school, he can fool me. I went from 1982 to 1987, I left him there, and he can fool me. He can use all his semantics and fool me, and fool you, and fool all the others. But it is time, brother man, that people stand up to those nonsense.
Well, Carlisle, I'm hoping that one day it happens. It's 1:37 though. We're going to take a few more phone calls. We have a stop coming up there. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Hello. Thank you, Carlisle John Baptist. Thank you very much there. Trying to get a phone call there from the diaspora. Not connecting. Try again. 449-3095. 96 and 97. This is Talk on the Block. Hello.
Mad.
Yes.
The same thing, the same way the president got elected, and now is the same thing happened. So it's about time the opposition and the others try to see what they can do about it. Mr. Skerritt just feels that he's too big to speak to Mr. Linton. That's all his problem. He's too much of a big man to speak to him. So what are they going to do about it?
Well, that's a big question there. What can they, what will they do about it? Hello.
Hello, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get you yesterday. I didn't get you.
Yes, but you got me now, so talk.
With Mr. Martin.
What about Mr. Martin?
No, I was at that time. But I'm trying to refer to that same policeman which is calling your program every time. I can recall you told that policeman that you would stop him from calling the program, and you will only allow him when other policemen will be calling the program, so he'll be able to. But until the other policemen have no right to call the program, you are preventing him from calling the program.
What I'll tell you is, Mr. Mills calling the program does nothing to me. I took a decision some time ago, and he did not call for a while. But we've been having some interactions in recent times. I understand what everybody is saying about Mr. Mills. But I'm saying the decision should be that of the police commissioner. He's breaking all the rules. So should I correct him on behalf of the police commissioner, or should he do it himself? Hello, talk to me.
Matt,
Yes, bro.
Matt, that is what I was going to talk about, the securing detention, Matt. But can I break it for me? So let's forget about him. I am calling on the Prime Minister to reverse that matter. And immediately we are going to say that we are going to put Mr. Hobbs as commissioner.
Well, Mr. Hobbs has retired, friend. I want you to start following the event so you know what's going on. Mr. Hobbs has retired, and this is why they are appointing an acting deputy commissioner. Okay? 140, hello.
Matt, good afternoon. How are you doing, my brother?
Hi, my brother, how are you doing? Yes.
Fine, thank you. Matt, indeed we are living in dangerous times. Matt, you, at the beginning of your program, you advise our listeners to visit YouTube, watch the clip, the present.
Al Jazeera, yes.
Yeah.
Stealing of Paradise.
Stealing of Paradise. And I really want to call on all Dominicans to watch that presentation on YouTube. Please, Dominicans, so that you could understand and have a better appreciation for what is happening in Dominica. Because I believe, Matt, it's an identical situation, Matt. And Dominicans need to familiarize themselves with that, to see where all that leads to see how we are losing our country. Matt, with respect to this police situation, Matt, we should understand by now in Dominica, Matt, that anytime we are talking about Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit making appointments, Matt, especially to the police force, which I believe is a gang, Matt, those appointments must be corrupt appointments, Matt. We saw that repeatedly from Daniel Carbon come down to Samuel Carrett, and right now to this recent appointment, Matt. It is people who are going to do his biddings. These people have no regard for law and order. Wayne James put it right, Matt. Look at how Mr. Valerie is going to fail that test, Matt. He's going to accept that illegal appointment. He's not going to stand up like a police officer, like Mr. Wayne James was indicating. Stand up like a police officer, one who recognizes his responsibility to uphold the law, and talk to the Prime Minister, counsel him, and say, look, Prime Minister, you are not going about this right. And for me to accept that appointment, you have to do it according to the law of the land. And that would send a strong signal not only to the rest of us in Dominica, but particularly to the subordinate members in the police force, Matt. They would understand what the leadership of the police force stands for. What they're seeing right now, Matt, is clearly that the leadership of the police force stands for upholding corruption. We have come on the air, Matt, multiple times, highlighting the amount of times the police has been facilitating corruption and crime in Dominica, Matt. And we see, why they continue to perpetuate that. And it is we no longer can refer to them as a legitimate police service, Matt, but clearly, Matt, they have proven that they are gang. They are gang carrying out the bidding of the illegal dictator Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. And that is why, Matt, I still consider them to be the major threat in Dominica, Matt. They are the ones intimidating people from demonstrating against these illegalities. They are the ones, Matt, carrying out all the dirty work for the government, or giving them protection, Matt, giving them cover to carry out all their dirty work. So that is no surprise when you see Mr. Skerrit appoint one of his own, Matt.
All right, caller, thank you very much there. We have a limited time. We have a stop there to make just before 2 o'clock. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, Matt. Brian, yes. Some of them, is not all of them. Some of them. And Matt, we have given this police officer maybe 1,000 invitations. He's hearing it. He got them already to call the Angelo Allen on Tuesday night and on Sunday night. Nothing doing. So you see, he know who he's troubling, he know who he's teasing. Thank you.
Thank you very much there. Hello, talk to me. 1:43 is the afternoon time. Let's take a phone call. Hello.
Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Yes, my brother.
I am not going to blame Roosevelt Skerrit for what is happening in the country. I am going to blame the people of Dominica for what is happening in this country. This is a democratic country. This is a civilized society. In 1979, we stood up, Matt. What is wrong with us that we cannot stand up today? What is wrong with the churches? What is wrong with the institutions? What is wrong with the government, with the different groups, Matt? What is wrong with the organizations? Where is the lawyers and them in 1979 who tumbled Patrick John administration down? Where are these people today? The main man in 1979 that brought the administration down. Look at where he is in a White House, Matt. And Dominican sit down there, my prime minister, really my prime minister alone. He will not leave us alone. And they have a plan for us, Matt. They have a plan for us. There are other persons in the police force who are well qualified, Matt. But no, anytime you can do the dirty work, that is what the Labour Party like. Anytime you can do the dirty work, you will be appointed. You cannot read, you cannot write. They're giving you 6-7 pens. You're more qualified than any other person because why? It is dirty work that you are prepared to do.
I'll tell you what, make sure you look at the Al Jazeera documentary, Stealing of Paradise. When I get some chance, maybe next week I'll try to play it for you, okay? But in the meantime, check it out. All right, let's do this and then we'll come back.
This is it. The 2016 Madame Wabduyet Canada Show, Madame of Madames, is on Saturday, October 1st, 2016 at the St. Peter's and Paul Banquet Hall, 231 Milner Avenue in Toronto, Canada. The best of Dominica's cultural heritage will be showcased as we celebrate Madame Wabduyet Canada's 5th anniversary. The Madame Wabduyet Canada Show, Madame of Madames, will be a fierce contest as past winners and first runner-ups do battle, bringing their experience, flair, and beauty to the stage. But only one can win the title of titles, Madame of Madames. This year's theme, Viva Sissi Coteron, honoring Dominica's cultural advocate, Mabel Alice Sissi Coteron. Come enjoy a delicious dinner and an exciting show. Tickets are only $50. October 1st, the 2016 Madame Wabduyet Canada Cultural Show, Madame of Madames, at the St. Peter's and Paul Banquet Hall, 231 Milner Avenue in Toronto, Canada. See you there.
The Association of Music Professionals, AMP, announces its third course, The Fundamentals of the Music Business in the 21st Century. Venue, the Dominica State College. Time, 5 to 8 p.m. Date, from the 12th to the 21st of September 2016. If you are interested in being a music manager, entertainment lawyer, record producer, booking agent, or music publisher, this course is for you. The course will be facilitated by music professionals from Denmark, among others. For more information, please contact Craig Stedman at Dexia. Telephone number 448-2780. AMP, the Association of Music Professionals.
For all your tiling needs, please come and visit Home Base Limited. Brand new warehouse, yes, brand new. Located at the Canefield Industrial Site, shed number 6, directly opposite the call center. Contact numbers 449-2214 or 612-6631. Get your quality tiles at Home Base Limited. Think quality. Think affordability. Think affordability. When you are just too tired of the heat, check out Progressive Cooling. Get your air conditioning units any size, whether it's commercial, industrial, or residential. They've got it. Your home appliances are not working properly? Progressive Cooling also specializes in fixing refrigerators, ovens, fans, microwaves, and televisions. Progressive Cooling will fix it back to that good as new condition from Capuchin to Scott's Head. Progressive Cooling, located at Monbruce, will find you. Call 448-6980 or 613-3176. Progressive Cooling, so cool.
We have a family life seminar coming up this weekend, organized by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the SDA, and we have two very important people in the house to talk to us about that. The discussion on the deputy will continue in the morning. Hello, talk to me. Let's introduce yourselves.
Yes, that's right. Hello, Dominica, and around the world. This is Pastor Colin Backus, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, but more specifically, the Northeastern District of Seventh-day Adventists, that is from Calibishi to Margot. We're having a wonderful family life seminar coming up this weekend, from the 9th to the 11th. We're starting Friday evening, 7 p.m., all day Sabbath from 9 in the morning until about 5:30 in the afternoon, and Sunday evening from 6 o'clock at the Wesley Seventh-day Adventist Church. We're just looking out for you. And we also have our special facilitator who I want to present to you, and then he will say a few words. He's Pastor Dalston Morian from St. Lucia, the Family Life Director of the St. Lucia Mission. He would be our facilitator for the weekend, and he will tell you something more about this program.
All right. Welcome, Pastor, from St. Lucia.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so
it's
much.
It's a pleasure. So I suspect big things are happening there on the weekend?
I can guarantee you.
Okay. Give us a hint of what is to come.
Well, if you would allow, Matt, let me just give you a background to my visit here in St. Lucia 25 years ago, when I first visited St. Lucia as a student called Porter. Dominica as a student called Porter. I found such great favor with the people. And I must say that a tremendous part of my education, I must associate it with the generosity of the Dominican people, because in my program here 25 years ago, they supported me so tremendously that now my returning is but just an indication of my appreciation and my thanks for them. And I have been involved in a program over the weekend past that had to do with an advisory that was conducted by the Caribbean Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, directly related to the Children Ministries Department, of which I also have the privilege of supervising in St. Lucia. We had an advisory so that we can strategically plan our forward trust for the ministry towards children. And you would agree with me, if we have been keeping in connect with the news, that children are one of the most endangered cohort of the family, and there needs to be a serious rescue mission. And that rescue mission is going to involve all the stakeholders, all of us who have the deep and endemic concern for children and for their welfare. And I think I have developed a passion for that area. So that is one of the things that brought me to St. Lucia. But more than that... Dominica.
Well, it's okay, we understand.
Yes. Well, you see, Matt, I've not yet transitioned, because I'm actually not a St. Lucian, I'm a Guyanese. But I've been living in St. Lucia for 20 years. I'm married to a St. Lucian, so I'm kind of Gaishan. But so Dominic is special. So what we've been doing over the past weekend is that, other than the advisory, we had a convention for the children in St. Lucia with specific outreach program for the children in Calibishi and
Calibishi?
Calibishi. Okay. And Colio, I think. Yes, and we were able to offer to those school children help in the form of backpacks and school items and so on and so forth. And I must indicate that when this program came on stream, I took it upon my own to seek to raise some finances for the children, for my gift of offering to the St. Lucian children, and so what the Dominican children. So what I did is that the St. Lucian public, and together with the church, has responded by offering me the privilege of bringing almost $8,000 to purchase stuff for the children. So my program is about presenting to the children in the Northern District and some other schools school shirts for the children. This is the least I could do to say thanks. This is the least I could do.
I'm sure they're very grateful.
Man, more than being grateful, it was just a joy to be there. Whether they had not said thanks, that would not have interfered with me. Just to return to, just to say this is an expression of my gratitude to you for what you have done to me. You know, I'm learning life shows up in ways that are very, very perplexing and very interesting, I would say, because I never thought that I would ever be able to come to Dominica and to receive such generosity and such hospitality from the people. And I still want to declare that Dominican people are still the best that I have ever met in my life.
Thank you for that. But give us a hint of what is to come this weekend at the Family Life Seminar.
Well, as a Family Life director, I must indicate that through my studies, I'm beginning to discover that the family is fundamental, is a bedrock of society. And when the family is destroyed, then society is destroyed, because strong families make strong society makes strong nation, and strong nations make a strong world. So all of it piggyback on the family. And so I believe that over the recent times, based on some of the calamitous things that have been happening to the family, it only nudges us to go back into the basics and to reinvestigate and to reconnect with what is fundamental to our survival. And in the midst of all of this, family is directly and intricately connected to everything that we do. And so if we're going to rebuild the world, of course, the leaders around the world, we are now beginning to realize that more than ever before, we've got to return back to this matter of the conversation of the family. And over the past couple of years, 6 or so years, I've been a part of that conversation. And one of my biggest concern is the part that men play in the whole operations of family. I think that as men, we have not yet understood how powerful we are, or rather, the powerful privilege that has been given to us as men. And I'm beginning to discover from my research, and as I encounter men, I'm beginning to discover that some of the ills of society are associated with the absence of the father in the life of a child. And I use myself as an example. At age 9, when my father walked away from our home without giving me an explanation, and I think now he's dead, I will never get an explanation. I suffered from what is called child neglect. And the impact of that experience, I see some of the elements playing out in my experience, even in the way I relate to my wife. So maybe I'll be the first person to admit that I still struggle with a lot of things, but I'm learning to be intentional and deliberate about putting into operation those principles that will make well for the transformation that I need to experience, and which will pop over into the experience of my family with my relationship with my wife. And so the focus for me is on Friday night is going to be the impact of fatherlessness on the Dominican society. Because we are realizing that the absence of a father is connected with what happens to a child in the school, what happens to a child in the playfield, what happens to a child in relation to the institutionalization, which we are seeing as a growing tendency now. What happened? How is it, for example, in St. Lucia, I was fortunate to have been able to influence the powers that be to run a research with regards to who are the people that are in the correctional facilities, what are their relationship with their families, and we're discovering that over 79% of these guys that are behind bars do not have a father figure, father influence in their lives. So we're going to be talking about those things. How men without fathers relate to women. How do they relate to their families? How do they relate to the church? How do they relate to the community? And in the context of what we refer to as postmodernism, with the swing of what is called the counterculture movement, how do men play into that? And from a biblical point of view, how is it that the devil is targeting men because of what he knows about men? Because if we were to make a swing and experience a transformation that men can experience, first of all, in showing up for the priesthood, which is the greatest responsibility that is given to a man, we can begin to see a serious and measurable transformation within our society that will hold well for us in terms of our goodwill in life. So that's a Friday night.
Sounds like the Nuff will be inspired there. Just given a quick listen to the pastor from St. Lucia. We'll be doing a seminar there on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. I know time does not permit us, but I'm just hoping that you have a lot of fun there. And people really come out to listen.
We're looking forward to it. And Mark, if in the closing moments you would allow for me to just give a wrap up in terms of what is going to happen on Saturday and on Sunday.
Yes.
On Saturday we'll be shifting from men and we'll be looking at married couples and we'll be dealing with the power of intimacy and its implication for the stability of marriage within our society. That is going to be deep. I'm going to be dealing with things like plummeting deeper into intimacy, sexual experiences and intimacy, and some real stuff. And this is not going to be a surface issue. It's going to be plummeting really.
You're going to speak realistically there.
Oh yes. It's going to be an open conversation.
Matt, are you married?
No.
Not as yet. No. Well, we are doing weddings for free too. We'll be willing to do it.
I like that.
Yes, and not only the wedding, but we also do the premarital preparation.
Yes.
And then, of course, in the St. Lucian context, I also do postmarital counseling. Because it's all well and good to prepare people for marriage. But when two people who are from two different backgrounds come into the same context to live, then you need some postmarital engagement because now they will have to begin. Because courtship is not as the same as coming to live in the same square with another person, and the differences between men and women. And I believe that one of the fundamental problems that causes the statistics with regards to divorce to keep climbing is because men don't understand women, women don't understand men, and what happens is that we engage in attack on each other, and what happens is that we destroy our emotional capacity, and so instead of drawing closer to each other, we drift apart from each other, and that is an indication of what is happening to your emotional bank account. And once the emotional bank account dries up, you're already enlisted for a divorce. So how do we fill? How do we make rich deposits into that emotional bank account that will keep us together? I'll be talking a lot of that.
I wish I had you for a full session there.
Right.
Yes, and the people could have engaged it because the telephone's ringing, but we don't have the time. But Pastor, let's talk some time.
Yeah, it's a joy.
When you have some real time.
Yes.
All right. So
Okay.
It'll be a delight for me to come back.
All right. So how long are you going to be in Dominica?
Monday evenings.
Monday.
Maybe even Monday morning.
Yeah, Monday we can look at having a chat. Okay.
Sure.
Let's talk again.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And make sure you go to that Family Life Seminar there in Wesley, Woodfordale. Okay. Thank you.